my great pleasure to introduce Anne Saunders from the Scottish Government's Marine Litter and Contaminants Department. Anne is a graduate at the University of Aberdeen, worked for 20 years in conservation, in particular on marine conservation issues. This has included work on seabirds, both here in the UK and close to my heart, down in South Georgia, where I had the privilege of an austral winter. So Anne, a very warm welcome.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Yes, I'm from the Marine Directorate of Scottish Government. I'm going to give you a quick update on marine litter policy in Scotland. So our work is guided by our marine litter strategy, and this is overseen by our steering group. So the group is made up of our partners who we work with to deliver all the actions within the strategy. And this is made up of a broad spectrum of organisations, so it includes industry, academia, NGOs, and as well as local and national government. So the strategy was first published in 2014 and was due for renewal a couple of years ago. So the steering group have reviewed it, and last year we published an updated strategy with new actions and a new action plan. So this will take our work to 2027. And so I'll now just talk about a few successes that have come from the strategy to date, and then on to our current work. So in recent years, we have successfully banned plastic microbeads in rinse-off personal care products. So these are things like body scrubs, face scrubs, shower gels, and where the majority or almost all of the plastic within this goes straight down the drain just due to the nature of the product. We have also banned plastic stemmed cotton buds because, again, as for most of these things, there are perfectly suitable alternatives that we can have without using single-use plastic items. And then just a couple of years ago, we brought in single-use plastic regulations, and this has banned a number of plastic and expanded polystyrene items, so including things like cutlery, plates, drinks cups, and food containers. So that just came in just in the past couple of years. And then one that I know that everyone will know of is the carrier bag levy, which is almost reached its 10-year anniversary point. So on to our current work. So we have around 40 actions in the strategy, taking us up to 2027. These are short, medium and long-term actions. We've designated these as roughly 2, 4 and 6 years. And I'm sure you understand as the nature of marine litter that the issues are quite complex and complicated, and it couldn't possibly just be for one organisation or one government. It is a cross-boundary problem. So that is why, by the very nature of these things, a lot of the actions are medium or long term, and that is how we view our work. So I shall talk about our current work on wet wipes, plastic pellets, and also fishing and aquaculture gear. So currently we have a consultation out on a proposed ban for wet wipes containing plastic. So as I say, this is a proposal. We want people to give their views to the consultation, and from that we will then work on whether we can have a ban coming out of the outcome of the consultation. So we've worked with UK Government, Welsh Government and the Northern Ireland Executive to produce a UK-wide consultation. It's closing very soon, so if you are interested, please go to the DEFRA website where it's hosted, and please give your views on that. Again, as I've mentioned, as with many of these things, we regard this as an unnecessary single-use plastic item, which is why we're proposing a ban. There would be probably likely exemptions for probably medical and industrial settings, because our data shows that most of the wet wipes that end up as litter have come from domestic settings. So those from medical or industrial uses are usually disposed of correctly, so there are likely to be those exemptions. So the consultation is on the DEFRA website, but on the Scottish Government website we have published our impact assessments that we have to produce, so please have a look there if you're interested in seeing those particularly. And on to plastic pellets. So this is a very large problem and a global problem. We are, and for that reason, we know that the only way to tackle this really is to work with industry. So it has a very long supply chain. There are many handlers involved, and that's why we need to work with those businesses that are using and transporting these pellets. So there is a voluntary industry initiative that currently exists to reduce plastic pellet loss, and the Scottish Government have supported this from the outset. Building on that, we've worked with the British Standards Institution to produce a publicly available standard. So this covers best practice handling and management of pellets, and this is available for any organisation or business to make use of. And then from that work, we know that we need a full supply chain certification to make real difference for this in a global context. So we're working at the European and international level on this as well. And we have worked with OSPAR, which is the Oslo-Paris Convention for the countries in the North East Atlantic. So they have produced a recommendation on the reduction of pellet loss. And so all OSPAR countries, which includes the UK, are working towards standards and agreed certification schemes. And so moving on to fishing and aquaculture gear and the waste management of those. So we were asked to host a marine litter symposium a few years ago, and a large focus of this was on dealing with fishing and aquaculture gear and subsequent end-of-life management. So all relevant stakeholders were included there, including obviously the fishing industry and the 4 nations of the UK and other experts. And so we made commitments to improve waste management of gear. And first of all, to understand the problem, we had to do some research. The Scottish Government produced an inventory of gear that is currently in existence. So gear that is waste or end of life and stored around the country. We needed to know the volumes, the component materials, what state it's in, and also importantly, how much is being added to that as end of life gear every year. We produced that, and then DEFRA did a mirror project for England and Wales. These have been combined and published as a report on the DEFRA website. So we intend to use this to support the development of solutions, and in particular a waste management scheme that improves the management of end-of-life gear, in particular to incorporate recycling where possible, and so that we can contribute more to our circular economy. So that's the UK level, and then building on that at the European level, we're working with British Standards Institution to support the development of a European standard for circular design of fishing and aquaculture gear. So again, the intention of this is to reduce environmental impact, particularly of plastic gear during its entire lifespan. So particularly to support reuse or being able to recycle, replace and recycle particular components, having them standardised and make that easier to do and easier to improve the recycling of gear at its end of life. Again, all stakeholders, relevant stakeholders have been included, in particular, of course, the gear manufacturers and the fishing industry. And so although we're not part of the EU anymore, what happens in Europe will, of course, impact Scottish industry and our supply chain, so we want to be involved at this stage. And I'll just finish on a more local note by mentioning Chemo's Fishing for Litter project. So this is a great project that the Scottish Government has supported and funded for several years. They enable fishing vessels to bring back litter that's caught up in their nets back to harbour and safely disposed of. And they have been expanding recently. Several new harbours have been added, including in the Solway area. So just a quick mention to some of those harbours, including Stranraer and Maryport and Kirkcudbright, I think. So just a thank you to them for the work that they do on our behalf. And please have a look at our website for further info.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet.